Today we'll be looking at number divisibilities. What we need to know today is how to know if a number is divisible by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So in trying to know whether a number is divisible, we'll be looking at it as follows. And we are saying divisible by these numbers without remainders. Please subscribe to this channel. Thank you. So here we would want to know if a number is divisible by 1. We would like to know if a number is divisible by 1. All numbers are actually divisible by 1. All numbers are divisible by 1. Whether they are positive or whether they are negative or even 0. So when you divide 0 by 1, you have 0. When you divide 1 by 1, you have 1. When you divide 23 by 1, you have 23. When you divide 100 by 1, you have 100. So all numbers are divisible by 1. And when you divide a number by 1, you get that same number itself. Thank you. How do you know if a number is divisible by 2? So before I go along, in number divisibility, it's very important you have these tips so that when you are dealing with mathematics problems or maths problems, you'll be able to navigate properly. So a number is divisible by 2 if it ends with an even number. And what are even numbers? Even numbers are numbers that have their last digits ending with 0, 2, 4, 6, and 8. So any number that is an even number is divisible by 2. So if you see any number that ends with 0, any number that ends with 2, any number that ends with 4, any number that ends with 6, or even 8, that number is divisible by 2. Now let's look at this number, number 10. Does it end with a 0, 2, 4, 6, or 8? It ends with a 0. It is an even number, therefore it is divisible by 2. 18 ends with an 8. It's an even number and therefore is divisible by 2. 2776, 2776. It ends with 6, which is an even number, and therefore it is divisible by 2. 147. It ends with 7. 7 is not an even number, therefore 147 is not divisible by 2, and therefore 147 is not correct as an even number. So it's wrong. It is supposed to be an even number, or it is supposed to be divisible by 2. So look at it again. 10 is correct. It's divisible by 2. 18 divisible by 2. That's why we say it's correct. 2776 is divisible by 2. 147 is not divisible by 2 because 7 is an odd number, and all numbers that are divisible by 2 have their last digits being even numbers. Let's look at this next divisibility. We want to know if the number is divisible by 3. This is a very simple one. When you want to know whether a number is divisible by 3, all you need to do is to have a sum of all the digits. If you sum all the digits and the sum of the digits is divisible by 3, then that number is divisible by 3. Let's look at some examples. 27. What is the sum of the digits? 2 plus 7 is 9. Is 9 divisible by 3? 9 is divisible by 3. I beg your pardon. And therefore 27 is divisible by 3. So that's correct. Is 51 divisible by 3? From the tips we have above, we are supposed to sum the individual digits, that is 5 and 1. And by the time we have the sum, we have 5 plus 1, which is equal to 6. 6 is divisible by 3. Therefore, 51 is divisible by 3. Let's look at more examples. We have 509, and we want to know whether this number is divisible by 3. So we'll add the individual digits. So 5 plus 0 plus 9 is equals to 14. Is 14 divisible by 3? 14 is not divisible by 3 without a remainder. So therefore 509 is not divisible by 3. Don't forget, in our discussions on divisibility, we are talking about numbers that can be divisible by 3 or divisible by other considerations without remainders. Without remainders, take note. 251, is it divisible by 3 without a remainder? So all we have is 2 plus 5 plus 1 is equals to 8. 8 is not divisible by 3 without a remainder. So 251, therefore, is not divisible by 3. Now we'll be looking at numbers that can be divided by 4. So what we do is, there are two considerations that we can look at. We can look at the first consideration, that a number is divisible by 4 if the last digits, that is the last two digits, are divisible by 4, or simply if the number is divisible by 2 twice. We'll look at that consideration. So 132, what are the last two digits? The last two digits are 32. Is 32 divisible by 4? 32 is divisible by 4. Therefore, 132 is divisible by 4. Another consideration is that, can you divide 132 by 2? You can divide 132 by 2 because the last digit is an even number. And if you divide 132 by 2, you have 66. Can you divide 66 by 2 again? 66 is an even number. It ends with 6, which is also even. Therefore, it can be divided by 2 again. So if it can be divided by 2 twice, then it can also be divided by 4. So that's the second consideration, if you want to use that second consideration. Now we have 120. What are the last two digits? What are the last two digits? And we said that if the last two digits are divided or divisible by 4, then the entire number is divisible by 4. Is 120 divisible by 4? We'll consider the last two digits, 20. Is 20 divisible by 4? 20 is divisible by 4 because when you divide 20 by 4, you have 5. Since the last two digits are divisible by 4, therefore 120 is divisible by 4. So that's correct. 116. What are the last two digits? 16. Is 16 divisible by 4? 16 is divisible by 4. Therefore, 116 is divisible by 4. We have the next 150. Is 50 divisible by 4 without a remainder? 50 is not divisible by 4 without a remainder. Therefore, 150 is not divisible by 4. We'll move to the next, which is 5. This is very simple. When you have a number as far as it ends with a 0 or 5, it is divisible by 5. If a number ends with a 0 or 5, then that number is divisible by 5. 250. 250 ends with 0. So automatically it is divisible by 5. Because in our statement, we said if it ends with a 0 or with a 5, it is divisible by 5. 554,300. It ends with a 0. Therefore, it is divisible by 5. 116. It ends with 6, which is not a 0 or 5. Therefore, 116 is not divisible by 5. 355. 355 ends with a 5. That is 355. It ends with a 5. Therefore, it is divisible by 5. So we just said that all numbers that end with a 0 or with a 5 are divisible by 5. Let's look at the next consideration, which is 6. So a number is divisible by 6 if it is divisible by 2 and also divisible by 3. Take note of that. It has to be divisible by 2 and 3 at the same time for it to be divisible by 6. You know that 2 times 3 is 6. 2 times 3 is 6. So like we are saying, a number is divisible by 6 if it is divisible by 2 and also divisible by 3. Now, when a number is divisible by 2, taking a little recap, that number must be an even number. That is, it will end with a 0, it will end with a 2, it could end with 4, it could end with a 6, it could also end with an 8. 0, 2, 4, 6, 8. Any of those endings make it an even number. So this ends with a 0, so automatically it is an even number and therefore it is divisible by 2. Let's check whether it is divisible by 3. Remember we said when numbers are divisible by 3, when we add the individual digits together and it is divisible by 3, then that number is divisible by 3. So we have 3, 0 and 0. So 3 plus 0 is 3. 3 plus the other 0 is 3. Is 3, that is the sum, divisible by 3? Yes, it is. So therefore 300 is divisible by 6. So it is an even number like we have established, and then it is also divisible by 3. Therefore it is divisible by 6. Let's look at 186. 186 is an even number. It ends with 6. So it is divisible by 2. So it has established the divisibility by 2. Now the next thing is to establish the divisibility by 3. And when we are trying to establish the divisibility by 3, what we do is just to add the individual digits. So we have 1 plus 8, which is 9, plus 6, which is 15. Is 15 divisible by 3? Yes, it is. So it is even and is also divisible by 3. Therefore, it is divisible by 6. Let's look at 414. Is 414 an even number? Yes, it ends with the 4. It ends with an even number. Therefore, the overall number is even. So therefore, it's divisible by 2. 414, is it divisible by 3? By our divisibility principle, For it to be divisible by 3, if we add the individual digits and is divisible by 3, therefore it will be divisible by 3. So 4 plus 1 is 5, 5 plus 4 is 9. So 414 is divisible by 3 because 9, which is the sum of the individual digits, is divisible by 3. So since it has satisfied both conditions, that it's an even number, that is, it can be divided by 2, and that it is also divisible by 3. Let me repeat. The divisibility by 3 is because if you add the individual digits together, that is, if you add 4 plus 1, that's 5, plus 4 is equals to 9. That summation 9 is divisible by 3. Therefore, the entire digit 414 is divisible by 3. So it has satisfied the even number and also the divisibility by 3. Therefore, 4 is divisible by 6. Now let's move to 7. This one is a bit tricky but very simple. Now what we'll do is that for a number to be divisible by 7, you multiply the last digit by 2. That value you get, you subtract from the remaining numbers. Whatever you get as the value, if it is divisible by 7, then the entire number is divisible by 7. We'll do an example, or we'll do 2 examples too. So 595. We'll do 2 examples to be able to understand it better. 595. So the last digit is what? 5. So 5 times 2, and that gives us 10. So when we take 5 away, we have 59. Those are the remaining digits. So 59 now, when you subtract 10 from 59, what you have is 49. So is 49 divisible by 7? 49 is divisible by 7. Therefore, the entire figure, that is 595, is divisible by 7. Let's just do a quick recap. The number we're looking at is 595. What we said is that you take the last digit, which is the 5, multiply by 2 to get 10. We have 59 as the digits on the left hand side. Those are the remaining digits. 59, now subtract the 10 you got by multiplying 5 by 2. So 59 minus 10 is 49. So the value you get, which is 49, you test it. Is it divisible by 7? Yes, it is. Since it is divisible by 7, the entire number 595 is divisible by 7. Let's look at another example. So 686. 686. So we take the 6 and multiply it by 2. That is taking the last digit, which is 6. Remember, we're testing for the divisibility by 7. We take the last digit 6, we multiply it by 2, and we have 12. We take the remaining digits, which is 68, and then we subtract 12 from 68, and we have 56. Is 56 divisible by 7? Yes, it is, because 7 times 8 is 56. Or if you divide 56 by 7, you have 8. So since 56 is divisible by 7, therefore the entire number, that is the 686 that we started with, is divisible by 7. I come again. What is the last digit? The last digit is 6. We multiply it by 2, we have 12. We take the remaining digits, which is 68. We subtract 12 from 68, we have 56. We subject it to the test. If is 56 divided by, easily divisible by 7, yes it is. So the entire 686 is divisible by 7. Let's look at the divisibility principle of 8. So if you have a large number, you want to find out whether it's divisible by 8. If the last 3 digits is divisible by 8, then the entire number is divisible by 8. Let's look at this. What are the last 3 digits? You have 040. 040. 040, is it divided easily divisible by 8? 040 is the same as 40, and 40 divided by 8 is 5. So since the last 3 digits are divisible by 8, so the entire number 7040 is divisible by 8. We'll look at this next number, which is the next example. We have 4560. What are the last 3 digits? The last 3 digits are 560. Is 560 divisible by 8? 560 is easily divided by 8 because 56 is divisible by 8, so you have 70. So since 560 is easily divisible by 8, being the last 3 digits, the entire number 4560 is easily divided by 8. How do we know that a number is easily divisible by 9? That is, we divide it by 9 without any remainder. This is also very simple. So a number is divisible by 9 if the sum of the digits is divisible by 9. Remember, this is similar to the same principle when we are testing the divisibility by 3. So in the same way, if you take the sum of the individual digits and you add it, once it is divisible by 9, then the entire number is divisible by 9. Let's look at this example. 27. Is 27 divisible by 9? 2 plus 7 is 9. Based on the result from the summation, is 9 divisible by 9? Definitely. So therefore 27 is divisible by 9. We look at another example, 162. Is 162 divisible by 9? So we take the sum, 1 plus 6 plus 2, which is 9. Is that sum 9 easily divisible by 9? Definitely. So the entire number 162 is divisible by 9. 747. How do we know if 747, that is 747, is divisible by 9? We'll simply add the individual digits, 7 plus 4 plus 9, and we get 18. Is 18 divisible by 9? Definitely. So 18 divided by 9 is 2. So therefore 747 is divisible by 9. Let's look at the last number we'll be considering for today. We want to know if 10, we want to know if numbers that can easily be divided by 10. So this is a very simple one. Any number that ends with 0 is divisible by 10. Any number that ends with 0. So we'll look at examples. 250, does it end with 0? Definitely. So we know that 250 is divisible by 10. Let's look at the next number, 4,300. It ends with a 0. Therefore, the 4,300 is divisible by 10. Any number that is divisible by 10, that is without a remainder, has its last digit as 0. 316 is the last digit 0, definitely the last digit is not 0. So 360 is not divisible by 10. 6,650 ends with a 0, so therefore it is divisible by 10. So thank you very much. This brings us to the end of our number divisibilities. Remember, our number divisibilities that we have been considering in this video are testing to know how a number could be divided by numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And note that in dividing, we expect there to be no remainders. Thank you.